Hello, all. It's Monday after the July 4th, 250 celebration. Reading a few of these. Good morning. Then we get to figure out where in the heck we're at. Speech had a lot. I swear, a lot of comms in it. Zester's even going to join us and talk about some of those comms. A new golden age. The Empire of Freedom. Empire of Freedom. Okay, we're going to talk about some of the words. Very interesting. Cindy's birthday. Happy birthday, Miss Cindy. Howdy, Lisa in Texas. Hello, Twitch. You guys talking about Iraq, basically, or I should say Zaidi telling Iran out. Don't even want you crossing the border until we have our sit down with Trump. Quester's birthday. Happy birthday, Quester. Yeah, so much going on. It's heating up. Dave says, I know what I didn't hear. Time to go to the bank. That's what I didn't hear yet. Whoa, it's running so fast. I can't I can't keep up with it. Now, I've not heard this one. The Rack Factory saying arrest warrant put out for James Comey out of the North Carolina federal court. I've not heard this. Somebody update me if they know more. Yeah, I don't know who Randy is, Bob. There were a lot of folks making some really big expectations for this weekend. Not saying they didn't happen. They didn't happen the way they expected. It'd be interesting. Hello, Jay Hartprue. Lies very much. Christ is Lord. Christ Jesus is Lord. Very much. July's looking better and better. Ray. Well, Andy's too stinking busy, Ray. Yeah, Halliburton back in Iraq. I saw that. Cut a joint venture deal. They never really left. Dark Crazy Tom, I hope you're right. I hope a lot of these folks have already been dealt with. I think some have, definitely. I don't know if enough. Is the IRS based in Puerto Rico? Yes, yes, it is. Incorporated here because they don't have to pay taxes to the IRS. It really is funny when you think about it. And that people don't call them out for it. Nobody's like, huh? It is funny. MD Staley's birthday. Happy birthday. Thoughts on, let's see, opening the bell, ringing the, wait, did he ring the opening bell today on the day that, SpaceX goes public? Or, yeah, however that works. Hello, Mrs. KAC. I know, God, guys, I've got to get to it. Folks, I know a thing or two about aches and pains, unfortunately, and what it takes away from every part of your life. That's why we made Mr. Heal's Relief Cream. You rub it right where it hurts, and those cooling botanicals go to work the second they hit. Smooth, non-greasy, soaks right in. It comes in two-way, a pure CBD version and a full spectrum with Delta 9. And when that Delta 9 absorbs right at the spot, it works on a whole different level. That's the stronger of the two, no question. Definitely my favorite when I'm in pain. My personal favorite, and it's the one I use whenever I need it. Clean ingredients, rogue intent. That's the Mr. Heals way. We don't put our name on anything. We want to use ourselves. And before I let you go, our big gummy sale is ending soon. 33% off every gummy we make. If you've been waiting, this is the time. You can head to MrHeals.com. Check out the relief cream for yourself and tell them I sent you. Free shipping on any order over $75. Again, that is MrHeals.com. MarkZ, a code if you need it. They're meeting somewhere between the 10th, 15th, somewhere in there. All we knew was around the 2nd to middle of July is all we knew. A lot of people attach dates to it, but they were very, 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 very upfront and then told us middle of July. I have to try that. Nicotine patches. Yeah, bread's baked, pull it out of the oven. Oh, I made some great jambalaya over the weekend. I've been eating like a fat boy. Oh, it was so good. Got a little bit left over to finish off today, and I'm done after days of eating it. Days, don't have any fresh update on 2CTV. I chased as much as I could. More folks will chase, I am certain. Where do I think where I think we I think the public announcements happened over the weekend at the 250th, and there's a lot to go over that. Zester's going to talk a lot on that after we get through what we do know in Iraq and Iran and the world today so far. And then we're going to see how that fits with what we heard over the weekend. Yeah, Tim, I eat twice a day, but it does make it easier. Portion control is the toughest thing. Once you get that under control, you're good to go. Yeah, couldn't tell you anything about that one, curious Christian. I don't read them. Yep, Trump leaving tonight for the NATO summit in Turkey. Good time to be away, huh? Alex, if I had a bond update, I would share it with you. I do not have one today, unfortunately, which is not unusual as it is a Monday morning. There is no bond update to share this morning. See, I love that one. Somebody here said they lost 65 pounds doing just working on their portion control. It's huge. Grumpy, you mentioned 250 celebration, but it saddens me 46% of Americans don't know what it means. 46% Americans, I mean, if Trump wasn't there, they wouldn't even know who the president is. Have you ever seen them when they go and they'll ask folks, who's the Secretary of State? Who's the Vice President? Who's the Speaker of the House? Overwhelming majority of Americans couldn't tell you. No clue. At some point, folks, you have to look around and you have to figure out that the majority of people in your world are dumb. Yeah, I mean, low IQ, dumb. They're so narcissistic and only their world matters. And maybe that's because they've been very successful in dumbing them down so they don't notice anything outside of their own fishbowl. Maybe it's the algorithms because all they read confirms whatever they think because they've been programmed to think. Very few people look around the world and go, "Why is it that way? Why does it need to be that way? Why why can't it be different?" People just don't ask themselves these questions. And when you realize that, your life will get a lot easier and a little less frustrating. I mean, it's still going to be frustrating. Still going to be frustrating. I don't think Svea fell into the corruption. I think he was there to serve a role and drop off some of those files that we're watching being executed right now. Or Jerome, you make a good point though, man. Or some people just have too much other crap to worry about who's sleeping with who or whatever in politics. That's it. Let's see, what does Chef Patriot have to say? I know we got to get into the news. We're almost there. The agenda of the House of Representatives Thursday includes swearing in of some of the substitute representatives. Yeah, coordination framework, Chef Patriot. They're funny today. We're going to get into it because they are. They're like, wait a minute. This anti corruption thing was okay until they started picking up all of our people for being corrupt. Now we need you to kind of back off. Aren't we taking this a little too far? Oh, it's getting good. And Zaidi is clearing it out, clearing it out. Let's see. Isaac posted. He gets a Tuesday update. Yeah, and unfortunately, on the bond side, that's where we go. People looking for news Monday morning. The chance of real decent or anything solid on bond news on a Monday morning is like, I don't know, 1 in 52. It's rare. They're under the influence of severe propaganda, Mark. No, absolutely. Did it not shake up anybody? Did the press not figure this one out when Tulsi Gabbard dropped on her way out the door, dropped the files on MK Ultra? How Manson and his crew were MK Ultra, twisted by MK Ultra. One of the biggest shocking crimes of its time, MK Ultra. And then to think MK Ultra learned how to radicalize folks. Does nobody see all this radical going on out the radicalization and ask themselves, I wonder if our own government did it? Be foolish if they didn't. Let's see. Hey, Mark, you estimated the dong at $2. How does that work for people with trillions? I don't know anybody that has trillions in dong, but then they theoretically would have trillions of US dollars. Let's see. Mo Caffeine. Haven't been able to catch the news live in weeks. Baby boy's doing great. His big brother's loving having a sibling. Mama could use some good vibes for the first day back to work. Oh, having to go back to work sucks with a new one, but yeah, good vibes. I've got a friend of mine, Dan and Talene. Well, friends. They just had their second one over the weekend. Pretty excited for them. Let's see. A lot of them did. Oh, I'm reading some of you guys' comments. I got to get to it. Pitter patter. Yeah, got folks. If you're a kid, if you've got kids, make certain you sign them up for the Trump accounts. Free money invested early is huge. At Twitch, why do you think it doesn't work on it? Strong minded. Yeah, willpower helps. And we've been all fooled and been useful idiots enough in this game that we're learning from it. Oh, wait, where was that one? When this goes, see if I can find Lisa in Texas. When this goes, I want to disappear like Savaya. Yep. Peace. I'll be sipping cocktails in the Caribbean. Okay, maybe not. Probably really like tasty breakfast with some lovely coffee and a breeze. All right, let's get at her. Wait, where was Penny back there? Yeah, she's sacked out on the couch. Melody, yes, I'm on YouTube live as we speak. You see, like all the comments from people like Tom. Yes, I am here. Let's see. It's now studies come out those who use cannabis for a long time are not receptive to their MK Ultra program. You know, that is one of the things we learned in some of those files. Seems to break their control. I wonder if that whole like Reefer Madness movie had something to do with them wanting us to fear it so we couldn't break their control. I mean, if we're into conspiracy theories, all right, we got to get to it. Let's see if we can find a news banner to run with. We got a fair amount coming out of Iraq. Again, bond news is quiet this morning, but I am expecting a action-packed week. I know certainly Trump stoked the fire, and we're going to talk about it once we get Zester in here. He's been doing more of a deep dive on some of the clips to help, and I am excited to have his help. The judiciary announces the amount seized in Al Jumali's case have risen. They're now up to 127 billion dinar and 24 million US dollars. We're not going to talk about the other stuff they found, right? It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So they announced today, Monday, the seizure of 25 billion dinars in the case of the Undersecretary of Ministry of Oil for Liquidation Affairs. Yeah, the amount keeps growing, and this is not unusual as they start searching more and more of the many properties that are attached to some of these leaders. They are finding more and more. I mean, just sacks and sacks, rolls of cash, luggage to go, rooms with it just stacked here and there. It's getting fun, guys, as they're cleaning it up and they're starting, right? Middle East mounting objections within the framework to the anti-corruption campaign after it's affected political and parliamentary figures. Yep, it was all fun and games until their friends started going to jail. A report by the Middle East online website revealed the objections with the coordination framework forces have escalated against the backdrop of the anti-corruption campaign led by Minister Zaidi after it affected prominent political and parliamentary figures during Operation Fajr. The report quoted political sources are saying that a number of leaders in the framework criticized the way the arrests were carried out, considering that they resorted, of course, special forces, tight security measures, created a state of tension within the ruling coalition. And the sources also pointed out that there were complaints about carrying out raids without prior coordination with political leaders. Of course, because they would have leaked it. It's corrupt. They're cleaning up corruption. As well as leaking information, photos related defendants before their files were settled judicially. I will honestly say, I know it's trying to keep fair trials, all those, but I think it's a good thing. The people need to see it, and they need to see it in the U.S. too. So watching them scream is fun, and now we know why. Tomorrow, the coordination, this article is actually for yesterday, so that meeting is today. The coordination framework discusses the campaign against corruption and dismantling of the factions and how it's affected them, how many in their coordination framework have been locked up. They are squealing. It is awesome to watch. Now, Iraq, after oil conference, 8 years without final accounts and tax evasion. Slay's like, I've been quietly sitting back here trying to tell you folks, doing my best to protect your dinar. Here's the reality. We haven't checked the budget in 8 years. We don't know what the final accounts are. It's been awfully corrupt. Kept trying to tell you folks we needed to work on it. Not me, meaning Saleh. I love this one. Saleh dropping the bombs and Zaidi cleaning them up. I'm going to take this banner off just so it's not distracting me, guys. Bounce back to you for a few seconds before we keep going. Ooh, what was the bowling? Bowling today at different bowling alley. Oh, I'm dropping it to 614 from 621. Hello, Mr. Virtue. I'm reading a few of these. See, a lot of you folks have, I'm pro legalization. I'm just still got to keep it out of hands of kids. I'm reading a few of these. Trump's definitely not on Telegram. Skeeter, it's good to see you in the house. I think we go in the month of July, Skeeter. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. Mr. C thinks we could wait as September. Right now, those are where most of your guesses are. Majority of people I've talked to believe we go somewhere between the 10th and the 20th of July. When we do, I don't know. I'm not at that level. That is my guess. Everybody else is welcome to their guess. And those are, silver buffs. I got right ahead of you. Rumors running around now are basically that Trump outed it. He talked about the changes, the golden age, and he told them about all those changes that are coming in those speeches. And that is enough to count as the public disclosure part. And we're going to see all kinds of lockups, follow-ups, and etc. this month. And I am hesitant to be this hopeful, but I'm hopeful that that is reality. Yep, Patriot, I know. And I will tell you, I tell you guys all the damn time for anybody listening. I'm an optimist. I see the glasses half full, not half empty. And because of that, I see how close we are. So don't get mad at me when I tell you what I think or the gut or what I'm being told if you don't actually want to hear it. Best way I can put it. You're asking a human being that is fallible and has wishes and hopes and desires, their thoughts, and it's going to be affected by it. I do know that it's inevitable. So that's figure it out for yourselves. If you can't handle it, don't read a board, don't watch a thing, put it on the shelf and wait until you see it in the news because you're going to deal with people's guesses and expectations. If you can't handle it, you can't handle it, then don't watch. That's going to be my best suggestion for you. Because that is the painful, painful truth. All right, where are we at? So close, just patiently waiting to get clicked over. I'm just so ready. So ready. And another one of those guys, don't get mad at them. They know you're suffering. If they cared, it would have happened a long time ago. They don't give a damn that you're suffering. They don't care that I'm suffering. They don't care that I'm in a wheelchair. They don't care that somebody died. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a bunch of narcissists and psychopaths. Stan, Mr. C believes that who pulls the trigger will be the Chinese. They call them the Chinese dragons. That has nothing to do with the CCP or the government there. We're talking about old families that have put together the gold, a combination of them. Some of them Philippines, some of them Chinese, some of them different countries. But they're, as a group, known as the Chinese dragons or the dragons, that they get to decide when it is cleaned up enough to release it because they're the ones backing it with gold. That's what Mr. C believes. And if I mess that up, he'll straighten me out. Oh, I like the way Jen thinks. However, that means 66% do know what's going on. I like the way you put that one. It is a better way of looking at it. All right, where were we at on this one? City expects oil to sink to $60 as Hormuz traffic normalizes. I just wanted to share that one because keep telling folks it does get better. There will be a boom at the end of this. My reminder, Kirby. Good morning. Long disappointed weekend, but great people. Kirby was one of my sources on the ground in DC with a really jacked up weekend because of the heat, everything getting pushed here, pushed there. I'm just glad the hotel went great, even though the festivities were a complete cluster, or whatever you want to call it. Tim, Tim, Tim. I think you've hit on something here. Tim just said the longer this goes on, leads me to believe this really wasn't designed to make a lot of middle class citizens rich, more for the true believers that were chosen, for lack of a better word. I'll have to agree with you because when this thing first go, I knew a lot of people that just all they want to do was get rich. I mean, it would have been hookers and cocaine for some of that crowd. I mean, not for me, but some of that crowd. I mean, all they wanted was a mansion and a yacht. They didn't want to do good things. They didn't want to do humanitarian projects. They didn't want to help people. They just wanted to be filthy, stinking rich. Almost every one of those people have either gone away, sold their currency, or gone through something in their life that has forced them to reassess. And now they want to do humanitarian things. Now they're like, I just want, 10 acres, a little pond, a house, and I want to take care of people. Really has, Tim. I think you're onto something because I know I have changed a lot through this journey. And I know so many that have changed just drastically during this journey. I like that. Meryl, isn't it interesting? Mitch McConnell's been in the hospital for 3 weeks, or after they had to give him CPR, resuscitate him within 2 or 3 days, his wife leaves to go have a meeting with the number 2 person at the CCP. Anybody else notice that? I really don't talk about those things very often. I need to start talking about those things more often. Really need to talk about that more often. Weekend at Mitch's. Robert, they're going to try to get Joe and Mitch together. Somebody holds them up and they're up there like dead with their sunglasses on, waving. I'm picturing it. Get a boat, take him around. Mitch has been brain dead for years. Oh, that checks out. Yo, there, it's good to see you. 303 Saturday in Greenville, Texas. Still coming down. It should be around 240, 250 with the price of oil right now. They're making bank on us. Yeah. There's a weekend at Bernie's meme with Mitch. I can't imagine why they won it. I would have. Al, I like this one. Wealth of the wicked laid up for the just. It's the great last soul harvest. I do believe we're going to make it. But when we do, we need to understand where we fit in that time and what we need to do with it. Okay, let's keep running, guys. Trump shares the image of the $100 bill featuring his signature. President Donald Trump on July 3rd on Friday posted a photo of a $100 bill bearing his signature on True Social on July 3rd, presented the first paper currency to be signed by a living president. He didn't comment on the post, but the Treasury Department chimed in. Under President Trump's leadership, we're on a path towards unprecedented economic growth, lasting dollar dominance, and fiscal strength and stability. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent posted on X on July 4th. There's no more powerful way to recognize the historic achievements of our great country and President Donald Trump than the U.S. dollar bills bearing a signature. It's only appropriate that this historic currency be issued at the semi-quincentennial. I was wondering what they were calling it, right? That whole 250. I kind of like 50 cents approach, 250. Makes it a little more fun. Kind of goes with Merca. $4+ in Alaska. Ursula, isn't that kind of frustrating considering you guys provide so much oil? Of course, then they got to ship it out of Alaska, refine it, and ship it back to Alaska. We need more micro refineries for areas that produce so they don't have to ship oil out and fuel back. Horribly inefficient. Horribly inefficient. Yeah, Campy, I'm with you. I don't get why the negative comments. I mean, I understand the frustrations, but if you don't think it's ever going to happen, I don't know why they're here at all. I mean, looks like to me they'd have something more important to spend their time on. If they think we're all crazy and delusional, wouldn't they be off like living their own lives, going, those people a little cuckoo? Doesn't make any sense. Regional refineries. That's what we used to have, Tahoe Builder. We used to have regional refineries. 371 in Bennett's Creek, Virginia. Premium gas, San Diego, $6.89 a gallon. Regular, way over $5. It is kind of fun to see what everybody's paying everywhere. No, the Liberty Bell. Well, I don't think so. At least, Jabril, the Liberty Bell wasn't in that big gold one right there that's on it now. I was looking at the thing over here. We're talking about right here, folks. Anybody want to strip? We've got a lot of folks here that follow everything that goes on a currency. So don't hesitate to set us straight on that one. Be educational. I love it when we learn from folks in here. 334 at Costco in Brandon, Florida. 319 in Lubbock. $339 in Missouri. 419 Washington State. 299 in Southern Louisiana. It's running too fast. Boy, everybody's kicking in. 399 in Luzerne, Michigan. 369 in Northeast Ohio. Bishop, California. 575. 279 in Northeast Indiana. I noticed that on my signal. It does, guys. I don't know if you've seen the bell at the U.S. Mint site. They've got them like in gold and silver based on the Liberty Bell. Of course, I've seen pricing. They go on sale later this month. A lot of folks believe we will get a revaluation of metals before then. Man, it's just running fast. I can't keep up with you folks. Whoa, 311 in Southwest Missouri, 302 Southeast Oklahoma. $550 to $650 Northern California. 332 Austin, Texas. 357 yesterday in Wisconsin. 338 Fort Myers. Just reading these. All right, keep running. Somebody else, I think, just gave us their. Oh, the 19th is when those go on sale, I think. 301 Oklahoma. Bread and circuses will keep the people distracted. Oh, are you talking about the Taylor Swift, Kelsey Swift wedding? Or Travis Swift? I don't know. Whatever. He's Mrs. Swift. Poor guy. $299 North Texas. All right, we got to get back to it. So I'll be ready to talk about Trump's speech. Got a few more interesting pieces from world news, though. I can negotiate. Castro's grandson says he's ready to discuss Cuba's future with President Trump. He's like, I'll come to you. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Raul Guillermo Rodriguez Castro, former Cuban President Castro's grandson and one of the most important shadow figures inside Cuba's communist ruling circle, told USA Today in an exclusive interview that he is prepared to speak directly with Trump, signaling publicly a potential back channel opening as the Trump administration intensifies economic pressure on Havana. It's a good thing, bad thing. One, he's a shadowy character. He is firmly embraced the revolution, or has he? This one is going to be an interesting one to see how the conversation goes, because publicly he is saying one thing. Behind the scenes, what's it going to be? Is he a realist, or is he still an idealist that believes communism is the only answer? I've never been interested in politics. These are his words. I've never been a calling of mine, Rodriguez Castro told the outlet over the course of several days in June in Havana. Oh, wait, USA Today went to Havana. But at some point, of course, if I went to Havana, they would be all kinds of outcries how I'm working with, part of. Yeah, doesn't happen to USA Today. Nobody holds them responsible. Anyways, back to it. Although, guys, personally, I think they should go there and try to get these stories. But if some point the revolution needs me to step up, I'll do it. He said that he would never abandon the principles of Cuba's 1959 revolution or the nation's sovereignty. I'm hearing from a lot of folks that the deal's getting cut. I'm surprised one hasn't already been cut and Cuba's not already a done deal. Whatever that done deal looks like, I would assume it means Cuba stays sovereign, but it removes Russian, Chinese, and Iranian fingers from Cuba. Trump to travel to Turkey for the NATO summit. What to know? I don't know. What do you think you need to know on this one? Do you think it's a capitulation tour? Do you think it is Trump saying, you got a lot to work out? Now I've got another one coming on the heels of this one, which makes me wonder, what's this one going to look like? And now you're like, what do I mean by that? Setting the stage for the next one. What future awaits Ukrainian military-age male refugees in the EU? Oh, EU could end protection for military-age Ukrainian men. That's right. All the folks that fled the war. Europe is thinking, now that there aren't enough people and they're having conscription problems in Ukraine, it is time to end their protections. I mean, we're not going to end the protections for the people raping our girls, raping our children, harassing our wives, stabbing our people, trying to behead people on the street. We're not going to end their protections now that their countries are safe and they could go home. But Ukrainian men that can go fight and die, them we need to end the protections for, so they're forced back to the war so that Ukraine can come conscript them in other European countries. Do you ever feel like there is no moral high ground for these leaders, these globalists? I mean, because I said it in the beginning, Europe is willing to fight Russia until the last in Ukraine, until the last Ukrainian is dead. It's just body bags. It's just fodder. They don't actually give a damn about Ukrainian families and lives. They are just fodder. They are just body bags so that they don't have to put Englishmen and Frenchmen and Germans in the body bags. That's all it is to them. It is a harsh reality, and at some point, the world needs to wake up and look at it. It's just, they don't want their own sons and daughters in them, so they'd rather it be a Ukrainian son and daughter in the body bag. More for McDonald's meat. That's the way they look at it, with that same heartless opinion. They're not going to look at it as, little girl, little Johnny, little Timmy, little Betty, little whoever doesn't have a daddy coming home. Doesn't care. They don't care. They might claim to care, but it's not real. So so Europe is busy trying to figure out who's going to die for them. Yeah, just useless food eaters. It's just harsh. Harsh. Oh, yeah. Oh, more cleanup. I'm glad you said this one, Kevin. Kevin, you're one of those that just somehow knows when to get me back on target. One of the big stories at the beginning, and I kind of touched on and kept moving, is in that corruption cleanup. Zaidi has shut down borders with Iran. He will not even consider talks until after he has come to the U.S. and met with Trump. He has banished them from his country. He has drawn a clear line over the weekend. Y'all are out. Iranian influence out, and all your corrupt politicians with it. And that's part of why the coordination framework is now squealing like a stuck pig, because come to find out, it was infiltrated from the top to the bottom with Iranian agents. Oh, that's okay. It's good to see you in there. I mean, I'm gonna have to take a break and sing happy birthday in a little bit, but reading a few of you guys' comments. Right, Jules? If you want to stay in the country, you can earn citizenship by going to the Ukraine and fighting. Oh, it just it sucks for the average Ukrainian on the street, because all they are is cannon fodder because of the, what's the word I'm looking for here? Proxy war. Proxy war, because all they are is fodder for the proxy war, because European Western leaders are too passive aggressive or too much of pusses to not just admit that they're fighting Russia and do it in the open. So they're just going to use somebody else's body bags. They knew this would be the backlash at some point. They knew that trying to push NATO into other countries, they knew that setting up CIA listening posts, biolabs, missiles, etc., on Russia's border, they knew that Russia was going to have to do something, and they did it on purpose, guys. Did it on purpose, and it worked just that way. Same way that Hezbollah and Hamas, or I should say Hamas, same way that they attacked Israel on that fateful day, because they knew the response would be brutal. They knew it would be outsized, and they counted on it so that they could crash them with political opinion. It's welcome to your MK Ultra world, and the programming is effective. Have a seafood diet. A seafood, I eat it. Is the IRS by wait? I don't know. Mark, is this IRS by 15 forgiveness real? And I don't know what you're talking about. I know that they are doing a lot of forgiving to get more people back on the books, because they are having record years of people not even filing, or record levels, I should say, of people not even filing. Oh, they had a big one in Iraq. Do I have that one up here somewhere? Yeah. Or Rokana now saying, when I first convinced you guys we need a wealth tax for people over 1 billion, now let's make it anybody over 50 million. Yeah, it's not going to stop. Somewhere I had a good article out of Iraq. You guys had me thinking, and now I can't find it. Oh well. A lot of folks trying to get me to do more stuff on med beds and more of a deep dive. I just got to find enough time. Ukraine are the Fourth Reich, along with many other countries. Has anybody been following a lot of that drama in the Ukraine over doubling down on some of its, extremely racist Nazi past and leaders that they glorify? I mean, they're busy upsetting every country around them as they embrace their Nazi roots. But it does make it really fun when the left is out there and the globalists are out there screaming at us, calling us Nazis because we believe in freedom. I think they kind of missed that somewhere. Nazis didn't believe in freedom. Rain Man, my certificate would be horribly out of date on my IFR, and I can't be anymore because I can't pass the medical for IFR flight. Unless they change the requirements, I'm afraid IFR flight's not an option for me. Yes, like the Azov Battalion, and that is only part of it. That is just one of the most out there. There are more. People in Iran, of course, there was a lot of surprise, I think, the number of people that showed up in mourning for the Ayatollah's funeral they finally had over the weekend. I think that kind of shocked some of the leaders in the West. Like, how are you guys doing this? Although, do it get a kick? You hear all the Iranian leaders, we will not back down. No, we got to stand up for our own freedom. We got to stand up for our own sovereignty. I was like, wait, stand up for freedom? Stand against oppression? You're like, that's what you do. You oppress your people. You tell them what they can and can't do. You tell them what they can and can't wear. You tell them where they can and can't travel. Tell them who they can and can't marry. Oh, wait, you're like the definition of oppression, but you're fighting oppression. It makes for fun as I sit here and ramble. I got to quit rambling. I'm going to sing happy birthday, and then we're going to really dive into this whole, what did Trump say over the weekend? What did the speeches mean? What were the comms looking like? And those things. Cindy Quester, MD Staley, and others. So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love, may all your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all those celebrating. Dave, curious why so many Iranian people showed up. A lot of people are afraid not to show up because if they don't show up, then their neighbors will squeal on them. They'll tell the IRGC, and a lot of people start, you get leaned on, somebody gets beat up. They have like streets full of their version of a brown shirt. Oh, we have it. For anybody that wants to know, did you see over the weekend the crazy beating of the white police officer female by 30 or so teens? Yeah, it's sad. Antifa has become the new Klan. I know you're like, wait a minute. I'll let you think about it. Hard and deep. Cover themselves, hoods, hoodies, masks. So nobody can see them. And then they go out there screaming very racist things. Call it reverse racism. Reverse racism is racism. If you can justify beating on somebody just because of their color, you're a racist. So beating on the poor lady just because she's white, well, that's racist. There we go. Spike's mommy, to some degree, you're right. Some of the women with face coverings are probably rejoicing his death. I guarantee you they were. All right. Let's see. Brother-in-law, Linda's brother-in-law, Kurt's birthday. Now we're going to see if Zester has himself in here. Let's see. Do you have any thoughts on China's big fiscal push this month or last month? Silver buffs? How many tons this month? Have they finally released it? It should have been released about this week as to what those gold orders were. We looked at the May levels and they were obscene. That's exactly what we keep saying. They are unwinding. They are using their fiat money. They're buying hard assets. They are signing up. They know the crash is coming. They are getting their chair. Everybody else is busy throwing good money after bad money at a paper market or at paper silver or paper gold. At least we're prepared. At least I hope we're better prepared than most. What do you think? Are we prepared?
Hey, good morning, Pops. How are you doing?
I'm good. What do you think? Trump starts on the 3rd with pictures of the new $100 bill with his signature and the gold Liberty Bell.
Yeah. No, that one was very exciting. It was. I know that the weekend, not as exciting as some folks were claiming it may end up being, but I found the speech to be extremely good, just from a pure enjoyment standpoint. And also there were some very interesting word choices and statements.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping you will go over because I'm busy working it away. I only had so much time to focus on all the speeches. So I'm very excited about you getting to do a bit of a deep dive. And folks, if you think there was an important part in that or some disclosure that we have missed, please chat about it in chat. We want to get your thought on it as well. Because there's two of us. There are thousands and thousands of you guys. Help us break this down.
Well, I mean, just right off the bat, it was an incredibly good speech. And Trump stayed extremely focused on honoring the veterans, for those that haven't gotten an opportunity to watch the speech, you absolutely should. Just from that standpoint, it was definitely a patriotic pride style moment. He brought out veterans and war heroes. 107 years old, I think, was the oldest war hero that he brought out. And also, what I thought was extremely, extremely good from a symbolic standpoint was he brought out the flags that flew over all of these different battlefields, over iconic moments in American history. And so it was very, very touching, extremely well done, despite all of the craziness that went on because of the storms and the weather throughout the day. I know that they said that it was supposed to be around 375,000 people that showed up for the speech. Trump quoted that at minimum 150,000 people managed to survive the weather and the cancellations and everything else, and were there to watch live. But I know that the biggest one that immediately stuck out to me in terms of an odd choice of words, well, there was a few, but of course, a lot of people are pointing out, he said that we are now entering, and today is the day, the dawn of the new golden era of America. And so lots of gold related symbolism and imagery in that one. And then he also made another very odd word choice at one point in time where he described us as the empire of freedom in regards to the United States of America. There were a lot of really interesting ones, and I just enjoyed it all around. And so I'd be very curious to see what other folks were thinking on that one. I know that a lot of folks were pointing out, and this is something I was focusing on a lot, is that because he had all of these different flags from all of these different time periods, you know, folks were looking for gold fringe, folks were looking for any kind of differences. I'd be curious to see what folks managed to find on that side in terms of any visual imagery or symbolism.
That's kind of where I was like, Mary, I think he just kind of announced the new republic or the return of. It definitely had that feel to it.
No, it absolutely did. It absolutely did, especially while he was talking about the dawn of the new golden era.
This is another one where folks are trying to figure this one out because Trump was, of course, in Home Alone with Cully McCulkin. And the scene, and you know, of course, he a lot of stuff with Coley back at that time period, and then suddenly he posts this over the weekend, July 4th, and the comments, of course, that Trump had made to the character Macaulay Culkin when he was actually in the movie, he had a cameo appearance in it. So a lot of people are like, "Whoa, is this a yep?" And so they some interesting memes on that front.
No, I had not gotten to dive into that one. I'm curious what Trump was trying to impart with that.
Merrill, 33.
Yeah. Headed to 34.
That's what he's planning on doing with this fall, just for fun, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I didn't RSVP, but apparently I got to show up.
Yep, right. Beats the alternative, I guess.
No, that is definitely true. That is definitely true.
So did we miss any comms, folks? Are there things that you saw in these that you believe were telling?
Yeah, and I mean, it's all around. We saw there was massive amounts of security in regards to, especially in some of the beginning scenes, as you see Trump start to come out. It looked like they had built crazy thick glass walls all around Trump and the stage. But in terms of the overall focus that Trump had in terms of bringing out all of the veterans, over reiterating all of the blood and sacrifice that has gone in to this country and into creating, you know, the greatest country in the world, that he was refocusing everyone on that, taking advantage of the 250th anniversary to try and refocus the American people on how far we've come.
and telling us that our future gets better, not worse. Too many people and too many of our leaders are, oh no, our best days are come and gone. It is really a horrendous mindset. If you truly believe that, get out of politics. If you think our best days are done and gone, leave. Because that means you're not working for something better. You're just hindering those that still dream, that still fight, that still work, that still want better.
Yep. No, the best is yet to come. But I could definitely see.
A lot of people are worried about this one. Why is the president signing worthless Federal Reserve notes when the Fed's nearly dead? Has the big old symbol on here. President of the United States, Secretary of Treasury. Looking for somewhere on here, it says Federal Reserve. Legal tender for all
Federal Reserve note right under the 100.
There it says Federal Reserve note. Does this mean that the Fed's not going away? All those things, guy. I was told the Federal Reserve becomes part of U.S. Treasury. So I guess it really wouldn't matter if that says it on the note. I still would like to see some without the words Federal Reserve at all, because it's neither federal nor a reserve.
Well, when we look at like the Bitcoin Act as it lays it out, it calls for the absorption of the Federal Reserve back into the U.S. Treasury. And so, following anything in terms of the way that the Bitcoin Act was laid out by Trump and Cynthia Loomis, it calls for the essential destruction of the Federal Reserve. But as we talked about last week, Congress could always just end it. Not that they're going to, but they could always just end it.
Yeah, they could. Simple act, pass it, be done with them.
But we also know that Trump in terms of those types of things, has always been very, very excitable. Has always been very excitable. So I wonder if that one's not just something that's exciting to Trump, and maybe there isn't supposed to be some kind of indication that he's, endorsing the continuation of Federal Reserve notes. Just that, hey, he's excited about it.
Tom Friday. Yeah. John as in John who. John and I work to keep the Second Amendment. Sharmer, what did I miss on that one? Ooh, Christmas in July. Maybe that's what Trump was posting when he did the Home Alone. We keep hearing that for years and years, ever since Trump's first term. Finally going to get the RV. It's going to be Christmas in July. We're getting our reset.
Hey, I hadn't thought about that one, but yeah, that Home Alone movie, yeah, it's Christmas. That one was that one was a smart insight. I didn't pick that one up immediately.
That's
go back and rewatch those movies. It's been too long.
Yeah, Robert, I've had a lot of people sound off in chat. They've had a tough time getting in YouTube today. Did I piss off the YouTube gods again? I mean, they're way better than they used to about censoring me. Did anybody hear J.D. Vance's speech on the aircraft carrier here uttered the words, "The Great Awakening"? I saw that one too. It was a weekend. If you picked the speeches, there really were what could be comms or just crazy coincidences. Coinky dinks. And that is something to remember, guys. Trump can't end the Fed. Congress has to end the Fed. People do expect way more out of him than he has the constitutional power to deliver. They have like irrational beliefs of what he should do. I think many of them missed their civics classes.
Yeah, and Trump is, people have to remember too that Trump is not the typical president. And when it comes down to it, the president is extremely constrained on what they're capable of unilaterally doing without having been given approval and a thumbs up from the legislative branch. And so I think that is often something that is forgotten. Trump, though, is different. He utilizes the bully pulpit more than really any president since Ronald Reagan has.
Since Reagan.
And then if you go even further back, he uses the bully pulp. It would be comparable to the way that Franklin Delano Roosevelt went through and utilized the bully pulpit.
Even Truman was pretty good with the bully pulpit. I didn't really like him politically, but he was an interesting character.
Truman. Oh yeah, and that one there. That's a whole conversation on
Another
that one. I've got a lot of really strong opinions on that fella. I've got some very strong opinions on that fella. But he really has, and in that regard, that's something that has, I think, changed and has made such a big difference in how much Trump has been able to get done.
Can the president revalue gold? Well, that's a good question. What's required for them to revalue? They can revalue. If all they did was go to market value, it would suddenly explode in value. Silver about Hong Kong's issuing a new gold clearing system where citizens can no longer buy paper gold, forced to buy physical silver buffs. Andy and I have been talking about that and poking at it for some time now. Between the ones they've opened in Shanghai, Hong Kong, Dubai, it's no longer just the London Metals Exchange and the COMEX. They're not going to be able to manipulate the price through paper money anymore. It is chipping away at their system. The fundamentals are telling you it is changing, and it's changing. That is a sign of how it is changing right in front of our eyes. We will get our revaluation to gold, and everything changes then. The question is when.
I think that there's a lot to be said, and I know that that's something that Andy has mentioned, and that I've been keeping up with. The Gold Council, Global Gold Council, has been going through and trying to create or trying to standardize the interoperability of all these different tokenized gold versions. And I think that that's going to be what really puts the nail in the coffin for the full revaluation of gold. It is the fundamental change to the value of gold. And I think that that's an important thing, at least in my mind, to remember in terms of it, that gold needs to move into the 21st century, and tokenization is how it's going to happen. That, I think, is what's going to take the value of gold to extreme levels. Extreme levels. In the Bitcoin Act, when they call for the revaluation of gold, the way that they lay it out in the Bitcoin Act is that what will occur is that all gold held by all Federal Reserve banks across the United States will be returned to the United States Treasury. The Treasury will then revalue the gold. Remember that current Federal Reserve gold is valued at $42.22 per troy ounce. Troy ounces is actually bigger than the typical ounce. So it's around 30, 31 or something like that. And so the Treasury will revalue the gold and then will reissue that gold back to the Federal Reserve banks, but the Federal Reserve banks will be forced to pay back the difference between the revalued valuation of the gold and what they had previously been valuing it at. And so in that entire process, it technically claims in the Bitcoin Act that the U.S. Treasury will revalue gold. Now, I mean, that's what it lays out there, is that the U.S. Treasury will be the one revaluating gold. It doesn't dictate or state how the U.S. Treasury will come about that number, though. It doesn't include any information saying how.
Mary, yeah, and this really is probably not your wheelhouse. I was always told same time. Zester, would you think the RV before? Wait, do you think we can RV before Nazaire happens? I've always told Mary it goes at the same time. Dr. Scott believes it. I believe it. Mr. C believes it. Pretty much everybody I've ever talked to believes they go at the same time. Don't know if you have a thought on that one.
No, I would say I definitely lean more towards agreeing on that one with Mr. C.
A lot of people are confused. Why did Trump sign a note that says Federal Reserve on it? I mean, oh my God, is this, guys? I think it is simple as he is trolling the left and keeping them uncertain because they're losing their minds. They're wigging out. Now they can't pay attention to everything else. He is just trolling them. A lot of folks trying to read way too much into that one.
And also, we had Trump's signature on the 20. We've had Trump's signature on bills for a while.
Yeah, did he sign that, or was that just the Treasury secretaries at the time? No, I think this is the first one where he's on the bill.
Is it the first one that he is? I could have sworn that Maybe I am misremembering.
But hey, you guys sound off because I know we got a lot of
Yeah, I'm
experts out
certain
here.
somebody's going to correct me
Somebody's
quickly
gonna
on
know.
that one. I don't know why. For some reason, I thought that he had already signed something. I thought the big one here was just his excitement over it being the $100 bill.
Yeah, Larry, look, somebody wants to leave the US. I'm all about getting them a ticket. That should be our great humanitarian. But we get to buy it for him and we get to watch him use it.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. There was this influencer and he went to, I think he went to New York. And he did the streams outside of university, your thoughts on America now, etc. And of course, these enlightened students that knew not anything about the world and life would start pontificating on all the talking points they have heard and their professors. And they said, okay, we will buy you a ticket right now. We will help you leave, but you are not allowed to return. And almost everyone, when they started thinking about, like, wait a minute, but there's so much opportunity here. But yeah, but I can't do this over there. Then they started thinking about it and they were like, well, crap, it really is way better here than it is in the rest of the world. It was great because he was just like, you're right. Here's your ticket.
Yeah. I know. I people, and it's something that the world always has made fun of us Americans for. And now I think it's really funny to see it in the progressive youth. I'll be nice in terms of the terminology, that the complete lack of knowledge that people seem to have of how things are in other countries or how things work around the world is mind-boggling. And we see it in both regards. Look at how the Europeans have been freaking out over the World Cup and all the Europeans coming over, seeing the United States without all of this propaganda, without all of their media coverage of it, actually getting to see it, getting to interact with Americans, and not some American they think they're interacting with on Twitter, but actual Americans. And they had absolutely no idea. We live in the most interconnected time in human history. If there was a time that people in France should know what people in the United States are doing, it is now. And yet we are still extremely disconnected from the world. And it works in both regards. The world seems to love, and it makes sense. If you're a European country, you're not going to tell everybody that your country sucks and you should be more like America. That's not how you get elected. And so I guess it all makes sense, but it's amazing to see how little the American youth currently understands of how the rest of the world works, when they should have a front row seat to it.
Yeah, front row. That is the first living president's signature on a bill. There have been a number of other presidents with signatures on bills, but they were not living. So he'll be the first living president with his signature on a bill.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think we are headed that direction. Somebody was just saying, hey, look, America's not great until we all have a chicken in every pie and plenty of money and a nice house. I think our expectations of housing are too daggone high. I think between zoning laws and banks and mortgages and your government, it has completely screwed it. Everybody thinks they've got to live in a big house with all this extra room, and it's just not required to live. It keeps us from living. We become slaves to it. That's just a personal thought and opinion. Don't get me wrong. If I had plenty of money and resources, I would have a big place. I'd have my own, sanctuary from the world. But I don't need a mansion.
We have been taught to want a lot of crazy things, and also taught to accept a lot of insane things. That, I don't know. I was thinking about that one the other day. The idea of public education is honestly such an insane thing. The fact that we have just decided that it's okay to let the government educate the youth. If you were to go back a couple hundred years, would there be a family, a father and a mother, that would say that was a good idea, that was an acceptable thing? No, it wasn't. No part of it. We have so many things that we have just they've become normal. The idea that people get money, for food from the government. There's so many of these things that have become normalized to a point where I don't think people even remember where the conversation started.
Hey, it's I question, which one's more dangerous? We got to get back to this ranch dressing discussion. But
Yeah,
communism, they take your rights by force. Socialism to me is worse because you vote to give it away. You vote to give it away for the free food. You vote to give it away your freedoms for some false sense of security because you don't want to work. You vote to give away more power to your government because now you're dependent on their check. Socialism to me that's like a contract with the devil because you've agreed to be enslaved. You have quite literally, by going to the ballot box and voting for it, you have voted. You have signed your contract in blood to give your soul to the devil. Socialism to me is far more evil than communism because you gave them permission. They didn't lean on your unalienable or unalienable rights. You gave it to them. You willingly, knowingly, with your eyes wide open said, I'm pathetic. I can't take care of myself. And my freedom doesn't matter because I want somebody to take care of me. Put me in my cell. To me, it is so like, I'll start really ranting and raving on that one. That one's that's weak. Those people are weak human beings. And they should be culled from the herd somehow by when I say that, I don't mean kill them. I don't mean whatever, meaning they want to fall off, not work, not have babies. Great, because we don't need much more of them. Boy, that sounded really bad, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, and socialism and communism, though, are like, vanilla and chocolate ice cream. It's a different flavor, but it's still ice cream. And I mean, there's stepping stones along the way. Ultimately, I would say that most of the communist regimes started as socialist regimes. Most throughout history, not all. Some have gone ahead and just straight up skipped steps. They were like, no, let's just go ahead and start this thing at the end. But typically, and even if you were to say China, in all honesty, I would argue that Chinese culture is socialist. And
it largely
they
is
have
because they will
always
never
been a socialist nation.
Yeah, they'll
China
never put the
is a
individual
socialist
above the collective.
people. They have a collective belief over the Han ethnicity. And that Han ethnicity has been a socialist society for thousands of years. And so I would even argue that they just had it built in. I don't know. China didn't skip socialism. They perfected socialism with thousands of years. And it still didn't work great.
No. Regina, ranch dressing. This to me is probably one of the scariest things that I've learned during the World Cup, that one of our best exports is ranch dressing. And I truly despise ranch dressing. But it is. I mean, that's one of the things that people around the world have gone the most crazy over is ranch dressing. They're losing their minds over, oh my God, wait, you don't have to pay for a glass of water when you go to the restaurant? Wait,
there's ice.
The $3.99 comes with free refills. I mean, some of these things, and ranch dressing, free refills, free water, and ranch dressing. These are the things that make America great. I really was looking for freedom and opportunity, and what makes us great is free refills and ranch dressing.
And air conditioning.
Yes. Yeah, there have been some really great social media ones that people have whipped up that conversation, and people buying fans and air conditioning is telling the elite just bite it. It's been interesting throughout Europe. Charles, what's this Trump account you're talking about for kids? Just look it up. Trump account for kids. Search the internet. You'll find a ton of information on it. It's a retirement account where I think Zester's doing the research for you, Char.
Yeah. I was going to go ahead and
these are for
that way.
Young children. If you don't have a young child, or if your grandchild or your friend's children, then you don't need to be paying attention. This isn't just for anybody.
Yeah, Trump accounts. Manage your Trump account with ease.
What's the website for it?
Tax-advantaged investment accounts for children under 18. Functions like traditional IRA with funds generally inaccessible until age 18. Eligible U.S. citizen children born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 receive a one-time $1,000 federal deposit, while families and employers can contribute up to $5,000 annually in total.
Now, this is retirement account, guys.
Got to be have to have a social security number, be under 18. In all honesty, it's really just a push to get Americans back to making babies. Is what it seems like in a very large way. You got to have a social security number and born between January 1st and December 31st, 2028. But yes, and so for those that are looking at it, though, it did. TrumpAccounts.gov is the actual website that was the first one to pop up for me. Official website, the United States government. Man, you know that a future Democrat president is going to have one heck of a conniption fit over Trump's account, TrumpAccounts.gov being the official website of that.
They'll be renaming it every 4 years. A new administration takes over to become, I don't know, Obama accounts, whoever accounts. Yeah. What about now? I did like on the fireworks thing. Usually the fireworks are pretty much always just red, white, and blue. But there were a lot of very silverish and gold fireworks mixed in this year. So those were some interesting optics too. Baby saving education. If we want to make one thing great in any country in the world, if you want to make your country great again, make the nuclear family great again. You look at the fall of our society, you look at our crime rates, you look at our education levels, you look at all of it. It can all be traced back to destroying the nuclear family, removing the father, removing that. Guys, they would have removed the mother too if they can figure out how to make test tubes have the babies without moms. Concerted effort to destroy our civilization. And we signed up through it with compassion and capitalism instead of just sometimes just like you need the intercession. You need the what is it when they call it when they sit the drug addict down and they check
the intervention.
Intervention, yeah.
Yeah.
America needs a big intervention.
Oh, it's been long established doctrine, the decision to try and destroy the nuclear family, and a lot of it was typically done under the guise of other things. It was female empowerment, or especially a big one, World War II, with all the men going overseas, women entered the workforce, and from that point on, stayed in the workforce. It's been long. They've been working on this one for a long time, trying to destroy the nuclear family.
For quite a while. This is the breaking story Gary's bringing to us here. I'm going to highlight this one. Of course, Mr. Poole posting it, but they're showing a CNN clip of it. I'm always worried the AI may be used on all these. So anybody out there, dig a little deeper if you can. U.S. Marshals have been ordered by federal judge in North Carolina to take James Comey into custody. That will be a fun mugshot. Whether or not it'll stick on the 86 thing, probably not.
Yeah, with how much that guy did, it'll be sad if they can't find something to stick.
That's kind of like when they took Capone for tax evasion. Kind of sad. I mean, you take what you can get to get some kind of justice, but pretty sad. You can see, let it shine. Isn't that great? I was forced after 20 years, but my main goal is that my children had both parents in their lives daily. It's so important.
Oh, no.
So important.
Sounds like you are an awesome, awesome mom. Let it shine.
Can I get a pet? Then identify as my child for the Trump account? Your pet rock? Take care of it? You know what? Not until the Democrats take the White House back. Then absolutely.
It's got to have a social security number.
Got to have a social security number. That's
so. If you live in a blue state, this is probably doable. Yeah, this is probably pretty doable. In all honesty, I've heard there are these people that you can just give money and they somehow just get you into the country.
Yeah. How do we get things to come to a head? And I don't mean in violence. I mean, how do we get something to change? Shouldn't we all be tired of the continued optics? Just blow the lid off everything and share the raw truth. I'm with you, but I'm open to ideas, guys. My voice is only so big. I am open to ideas. I know if I were exponentially bigger, I could probably make it all happen faster. If I were Elon Musk, I would probably just do a big take. I would be showing documentaries like The End of the Road from 100th Monkeys showing just how fake our world is. I'd be having book readings of The Creature from Jekyll Island. I mean, I point out that the banks don't hold enough money. There's no way they can survive any kind of run. Point out the paper markets. I guess if I were big enough, I could probably force this thing to a head, but I'm just not that big.
Well, that makes me think, and I talked with you about it a little bit this morning, but on Friday I was particularly salty. And I'd love to catch your opinion on that one, but to me it's in that same vein of just how insane things are and how close we've got to be to this house of cards falling down. Last week we got job reports data for June. No, so I guess if anyone's curious, the stock market hit record valuations. Gold and silver are back headed up, at least green. That could have changed since I started talking with how volatile things are. But needless to say, on Friday, we were having a little bit of a market bonanza. Now, why were we having a bit of a market bonanza? Why were all these investors so excited? Because we got the job data from June. And guess what? It was bad. We only added 57,000 jobs in the month of June. Expectations were that we would add more. It appears as if hiring is on a slowdown and wage growth is remaining stagnant and not even coming close to beating inflation. And so, because of that, we saw the stock market break its all-time record.
It's fuel shoots to the roof, the stock market goes up. The more pain you're in, the stock market goes up. That means for the stock market to go up, job market to go down. That means somebody's staying at home, not getting in the market and throwing money into it. I mean, where's all this printed money coming from?
And so here's the logic stream. And so the logic stream is job market not looking good. And that means Federal Reserve is extremely unlikely to hike interest rates by the end of 2026. And so here's the compound stupid of how all of this works. The stock market and assets, speculative assets, go up in value because jobs are poor. And the reason that they're going up is because the jobs are poor, which means the Fed is less likely to hike rates, which means inflation is going to continue to most likely run rampant, and we can expect continued inflation. And because of that, stock market breaks record prices because inflation is bad and jobs are bad, and the Federal Reserve has extremely weak tools or limited options in terms of ways to combat the inflation. It should make no sense, and it should make you sick, and it's insane to even have to. I felt insane even coming out and having the show on Friday to come out, and because I know everyone's stock market's at record highs. I see the comments, crypto's on a boom, everybody's portfolio's green. Why is it green? Well, it's green because things are bad. That's why it's green. It's green because things are bad. That is such a messed up form of logic. And the crazy thing is that it's the actual answer.
Right?
That's the stupid thing. It's the actual correct answer. I don't know.
It's fun. The insanity, and then people just accept it as
And you know that people see that and they still go and they're like, oh, time to write that check. Time to buy my my monthly selection of AI stocks. I'm just gonna participate. Sure hope the inflation gets worse. I might get to retire. Just no actual logic. Growth for the sake of growth is the mantra of cancer. Remember that.
Did not watch a music video dropped by Elon Musk yesterday, but first thing I always have to do is go to his account and see if he actually dropped one, because so many other people like pretending to be Musk drop videos. But no, I've not seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dinar, dude. For those that are still stacking, this artificially suppressed silvers market has been a godsend for folks that are converting their 401ks and their retirements and things like that right now. It is a godsend. You know where it's going. All the experts will tell you where it's going. The economists tell you where it's going. You'd have to be at this point blind not to see where it's headed. You may not know what day it's going to go that way, but you know what's coming. No, I'm like, for stackers out there, anybody, info@MilesFranklin, tell them I sent you. Now is your time. Maybe one of your last you get, and I don't know how long you have. That's not financial advice. That is, well, it kind of is, in that you should call an expert and ask them. That's more like your neighbor saying, hey, not really, but it'd pay to educate yourself. It was an awesome video. Watched it 3 times. All right, I'm going to have to look for it. Yeah, derivatives are the big scam. Yeah, I don't think, WK, I know a lot of people do this, but I really don't think he wants his name on there so much as he's using it as a tool to disrupt, because everybody blows their mind and they focus on that instead of something else. I'm not ruling it out because he does have an ego, but I really think a lot of it at this point has been a way to get somebody to look over here instead of over here. All he's got to do is put his name on something. We're going to call it this, and then they lose their minds. Even if it is the best thing in the world, because he attached his mind, they will vote against their own best interest. It is textbook examples of how to troll somebody.
I love that one comedian, and now I'm missing his name. I know I've sent you videos from him. You've put videos up of his on the show before, and so I feel like its name is like Ryan something, but I'll go look that one up. But yeah, he has the joke that if you want to make or convince a liberal to do something for you, all you have to do is tell them that Trump said that they can't.
Yeah, it would work.
Yeah, and so all he needs to do is come out and he said, liberals can't have jobs; they're not allowed to. And then every unemployed liberal in the country will be standing in an employment line on Monday because Trump told them they're not allowed.
It's true.
Yeah,
look at it. Let's see. David bought their first ounce of silver at 19. Somebody out here at 23. Everybody's like, oh my God, don't buy silver. It's such a bad. I'm like, wait a minute. I remember tripling my money over the past year or two.
Oh, now here's an important one, though. Coyote Boy, the only thing I regret is not selling a good portion of my metals and re-entering in the trough.
There's that.
Coyote Boy, I do not feel like you are alone. That is a human thing. That is something that we just do, but it is a great one to keep in mind, guys, all around, because that's the same thing that's happening right now. Look at these people that are all dumping their money into these insanely inflated price tags on these AI companies. Ultimately, right now is the time that they should be selling, but that's just not how human mentality. It's not how our mentality tends to work. And so you've got to always consider when you're talking about things financial, we as humans are psychologically, fundamentally, biologically bad at it. We are bad at it. And that's not me saying that anyone is in particular bad. It is just inherently a part of us. Our psychology does not work well with the entire investment structure and the way that it is established. And so you just have to remember that. Yeah, we're fighting human nature when we're trying to be extremely rational and logical investors. And I'm definitely guilty of it.
Yeah, wait. I'm going to do this one first. Rachel Beckett, we see you, buddy. It's good to see you. Beckett, don't feel bad. I would not even change as a kid in front of the television because I knew they were watching me. As a little kid, I was like, no, can't change in here. They're watching me. Let It Shine said, MarkZ had a ball with your spider video. I sent it to at least 15 people and showed my entire family on the 4th of July. Wasn't that the best? Let It Shine.
It's too funny.
I'm glad you did.
It was a different time on the internet. It was a simpler time.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of folks, guys. I find Trump to be an egotistical ass, and he makes a lot of mistakes. But ask yourself, would you be better off with Kamala Harris? Would you have been better off with Joe Biden? Then if you want to still have a conversation, let me know. He is exponentially better than that, and I think he's fighting a good fight. Could I be wrong? Could there be some shady stuff in a file somewhere that I don't know about? Sure. But I can tell you they have spent billions of dollars trying to out everything and anything they can. If they had something with any kind of substance, it would already be there. Same thing. I'm going to continue to be critical and keep my eye on it, but I definitely think a lot of you folks have flipped over and pretty much joined the TDS. And we blame them a lot for what our Congress won't do. Unless we change president to king, you're going to have to deal with the fact he can't do everything. And we don't want him to be a king. We don't want kings. We had that whole thing we celebrated over the weekend. July 4th is no King's Day.
One king.
Yeah, there's only one king, Jesus Christ, God. Yeah, one man can only do so much, but he's at least, it appears, he's fighting a better fight than anybody else has fought for us in how long? He's not the sole answer. We've always been the answer. You're the answer. I'm the answer. You're looking at one man to be the answer when it's all of us. So I think biggest thing is for people to just get realistic. What do you think one person like that can do? And then ask yourself, is he better than your other options? Would you rather have Kamala Harris in the White House and the Biden administration or Obama 3.0?
Oh, I think that one is easy all around. I don't even think we have to compare it to that. I think he's the right man at the time. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Only man at the time.
We didn't hire him to be everybody's, to be everybody's life coach. So
yeah, no, Mountain Goat, it is not safe to talk about other options. It would be foolish.
I don't know if it's safe to talk about.
No.
Yeah.
It would be foolish. He does appear to be playing a very intelligent chess game. Every time I look at him and think he's an idiot and why did he do that, then days later I figure out why he did it and it makes sense. So, at this point, I don't think I'm qualified to second guess him.
I love that. I think that for all those that think that Trump is not executing a plan and that all of this doesn't make sense, watch the presentation I did on the quarter sphere defense. It all makes sense. It's all a part of a larger plan. But I absolutely see how, looking at it from where we are currently sitting at, it looks like a crazy guy. But it's not. Yeah. It looks like he's just bouncing all over the place, and he does this, he does that. We're talking about Greenland. We're talking about Panama. We're talking about Ukraine. Suddenly this strait needs to
putting
close.
A signature on a bill.
And all of these things all seem like they are completely disconnected and that he's scatterbrained, and he is not at all. They are all connected. And the point of the way that he operates is that people won't realize that they're all interconnected. Because when people realize that they're all interconnected, then those Trump haters could actually start foiling his plans. And so keeping them so confused about what he's doing, I think it's a part of that intelligent game of chess that he's currently playing. It does make sense. It isn't all illogical and all over the place. The real conversation that everyone should be having is it the best plan and will it work? But unfortunately, people aren't having that conversation.
They should be looking past it. It's like Art of War. It's like a textbook. If I truly believed and studied the Art of War and great generals throughout time, both militarily, politically, whatever, it's textbook example. I mean, his behavior has been brilliant. It seems absolutely erratic. And he is either the dumbest, luckiest, whatever in the entire world, the accidental genius, or he's playing a chess game.
He's not, and it's not even his plan. It's not his. This
That's
isn't like,
Trump
has been sitting there in his hotels figuring it out. No, he is just executing a plan of people who spent their lives studying how to make this happen. That's what he's doing. It's hundreds of years of political scientists and military war strategists who have all been putting this plan together for the United States of America since the time that we were having a conversation about how to get across the Appalachian Mountains. And we had people and great thinkers thinking about how the United States was going to be operating when it controlled the entire continent.
Whimsical Wenders, he did one on the quarter sphere defense.
I think I might have labeled it that day. I don't know if I did though. I don't know if I did coffee with Zester in the quarter sphere or if I didn't.
We'll find it and post
yeah,
it.
yeah. It was one while you were getting a few days of rest. It was one of the ones where I was running the show.
It would have been very look right around June 1st, June 2nd. It's going to be right around those dates because that's when I was in Dominican and you did it while I was in the Dominican.
What were those dates then?
Somewhere around June 1st-ish.
All right.
Yeah, where can we get a Zester shirt? We need to make a Zester shirt. I'm with you. Yep, we do.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I managed to find it pretty quickly. And no, I did not label it with that one. I think I should have.
Yeah, we need to relabel it, maybe flip out a section.
Add that one to the title at some point on your side there, Pops. But I can post that link right now. That is the one that I did on the quarter sphere of defense. I did the morning news though first, so you can skip ahead to get to where the presentation begins. I've got a lot more on that one, and I have a lot of fun doing that research.
Yep. All right, folks. Is it time to start wrapping? Are you going to do a podcast today? Are you going to talk? Stay here? I don't know your plan.
Yeah, no, I was kind of expecting us to get into a little bit of crypto chat a little bit faster on it, but there was so much to talk about and so many great comments that we really didn't jump into that one. I'd be happy to answer a few crypto questions because no, I won't be having one today on the Crazy Kryptonite. But I was excited to get to hang out with y'all over here on the OGMZ.
That here would cure 99% of your problems, and WKW just nailed it. All of Congress should be disbarred. That's overwhelming majority of every one of our problems in U.S. politically, from immigration to busted budgets and useless money, can all be laid at the feet of Congress. They control the purse strings.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones of the legislation. What would be legal? What would be illegal? That's Congress. 99.9% of our government's problems can be laid at their feet.
Yeah, I kind of like this. So this is an interesting one. And Pops, this is possible, by the way. Oh, I lost you on screen, but Let It Sign says, would you ever consider a transcript to go to the show? I was going to tell you, Pops, if you want one, we could do that.
Yeah, you would have to set it up so I don't have to do it. But if we would start doing a transcript and dropping it into Voices of Freedom, it'd be lovely.
But no. Well, there is an AI software that will go through and it'll do the transcript, but it won't be perfect. There will be some small mistakes, but it would probably be the only way for something that's live streamed. It would probably be the only way to do it.
I need you to send me in our private chat the link for the quarter sphere one if you can, so that I can add it over at Rumble, because it doesn't automatically add them to Rumble when you post them in here.
Yeah.
So then you got to go back and manually do it. So I'm going to drop that one over on the Rumble and Kick side. All right, now I'm going to turn you loose on some crypto questions if somebody's got them for you or not.
Yeah. No, we'll at least get a few if anyone does. I know, though, that I've noticed a few questions along the way. And while Pops was chatting, one of them being, where is the Clarity Act currently sitting at? And in regards to that one, we are very, very, very close to running out of time. And so currently, most expectations are the possibility of the passage of the Clarity Act in 2026 is at this point up to a coin toss, unfortunately. And specifically on that one, everything is coming down to three particular disputes. And so right now, where things currently sit, we need the Clarity Act to pass Senate vote during this current Senate session. And so before the August recess, we need this to occur. Reason being is that midterm elections are coming, August recess. A lot of senators aren't even going to come back for the rest of the year until they either win or lose their respective races. And so in that regard, we are running out of time. Currently, to kind of give you an exact idea of where it is sitting at, A 60 vote is what is necessary in order to make it filibuster proof in regards to passing the Senate. Right now, there are currently 53 Republicans in the Senate. Unfortunately, Senator Josh Hawley and Rand Paul have been extremely clear that they plan on voting no on the Crypto Clarity Act. That puts us at 51 yays. We're getting 2 at this point coming from the Democratic side in the form of Ruben Gallego and Senator Angela Also Brooks. I'm never going to be able to stop commenting on her last name. I don't know why I find that so funny to have a last name that's Also Brooks. I don't know. That one's weird. But so, where does that leave us? That leaves us at 53 current yeses. That means we need 7 more Democrats to come across the aisle in order to make this thing happen. Now, there are currently, I believe, 11 Democratic senators that are potential yays or nays that have made it very clear that they could be swayed on this issue. But ultimately, that really puts it into perspective. We're running out of time. We've only got 53 votes and we need 60. And everybody is currently busy having arguments about very, very, very silly things in regards to the Crypto Clarity Act. Primarily, a lot of the Democrats are extremely, extremely opposed to anything cryptocurrency related for no other reason than the fact that the Trump family is now making so much money in the crypto industry. We got that financial disclosure for President Trump. We saw that he earned more money in crypto than he did through any other revenue stream. And so on account of that, there's a lot of Democrats currently attempting to oppose it for no other reason than the fact that it's Trump's bill. Beyond that, though, conversations continue over the overall banking lobby in terms of whether this Crypto Clarity Act is going to result in essentially the American people all yanking their money out of their savings accounts and instead moving it over to digital stable coins that pay a higher potential return or yield. And so that would be the current update on where the Crypto Clarity Act is sitting for those that are curious. Extremely frustrating all around, in all honesty, to keep up with the movement of that legislation. As I've said before, it passed the House of Representatives back in 2025. 70 Democrats came across the aisle to push that bill through the House of Representatives. It was not opposed in any major ways. It was not something that required this entire process. But needless to say, now we are at the entire holdup in the Senate. And so hopefully we end up getting it. For those that aren't aware, the Clarity Act, it breaks down which regulatory bodies are in charge of which types of cryptocurrencies. It breaks down how do corporations go about it properly. It essentially brings crypto development and blockchain development, I really should say, this entire field, it brings it out of this giant gray legal area and it places it as a foundational pillar of how the United States financial system and technology is going to proceed into the future. And so is it a perfect piece of legislation? In no form or fashion, but it's viewed by many in the cryptocurrency space as a necessary piece of legislation. All right, though, with that update, we'll jump to any questions that folks have about everything crypto related. I know a lot of folks had been bringing up ATQM and a crypto named Jiggle. That's what I'm calling it, JGGL and ATQM. I did do a little bit of research on those guys. I would have to say they have some very, very, very large red flags flashing around them in terms of a lot of what they're doing. Doesn't mean that they're inherently bad or inherently wrong, but I would say that the valuations of those cryptos based upon the amount of volume that they're receiving indicates to me that something somewhat odd is currently occurring. I am not exactly certain what that odd thing is, but I would say I know I'd seen a lot of questions around ATQM and JGGL in some of my previous streams. And last Wednesday, when I was on the show, I believe there were quite a few questions on it. And so I did do a little bit of a dive on that one. All right. Joyce Testman, which is more important, the Clarity Act or the Save America Act? That's Joyce. I would have to lean towards the Save America Act, but that's not because I don't believe the Clarity Act is important. That would just be a matter of me placing a moral equivalency, or a lack of moral equivalency upon it. They're both extremely important. But when it comes down to it, as we have talked about previously in regards to the Clarity Act, this is a train, and the financial system is moving over onto the new rails. We can either choose to be in the way of that train, or we can choose to be building and laying tracks in front of it and be at the forefront of that technology. The Clarity Act is not going to stop all of this from happening. It could just make it happen a lot faster and in my opinion, in a far smoother fashion. But it does not mean that it's the end of the road. Ultimately, after the Clarity Act, that is just pushing us to the next step, which in my opinion, the next step is the Bitcoin Act. And if you follow that potential future timeline, that Bitcoin Act is the revaluation of the Federal Reserve gold. It is the destruction or the bankruptcy, essentially, of the Federal Reserve banks caused by that forcing of them to remit the difference between the revalued gold and its previous valuation that the Federal Reserve was holding. And so Clarity Act, it is important, but it's not, I don't know. I would not place it at the same point as Save America. Okay, Robert Long, Zester, sir, anything on the taxation of cryptos? New question. That's a great one, Robert, and I wish that I had a lot more information on it. Now, we did receive, of course, back around tax season, the IRS put out their little update of, hey, remember, you got to tell us about your crypto type deal. Remember, you got to tell us. And they are still, though, operating, Robert, under a capital gains tax structure. So they're very much viewing it in a similar fashion that they would to any other thing, like a stock. And so in that regard, Robert Long, essentially right now, prior to the changes and future legislation, you can pretty much view it as a short and a long-term capital gains issue around taxation. But there's so many questions and nuances that need answered, in all honesty, that makes it very difficult. And this is the same argument that I've had for the longest time whenever I've gotten into the discussion regarding taxation and cryptocurrency. There is an inherent problem with the definition of a taxable event. Because, and here's the because in my mind, because what happens when I buy XRP and okay, that's an understandable point. I bought XRP. If XRP goes up in value and I sell XRP, and I sell it for fiat, for the currency, the United States currency that I bought that XRP with, that to me is logically, that's a taxable event. How are you going to tax it? You're just going to essentially say, hey, he had $500 when he bought it. He sold it. He had $1,000. He made $500. Capital gains tax rate, do the math. Okay, I don't necessarily believe that's how it should work, but it's logical and it makes sense. Well, the problem with crypto is that I don't have to sell my XRP for US dollars. What happens if I exchange my XRP for Ethereum? Well, now this whole conversation just went completely bottoms up because, all right, I bought XRP. The XRP went up in value, and then I spent that XRP to buy Bitcoin. Well, is that a taxable event? And a lot of that clarity, Robert, is where we're just still lacking. Because in all honesty, I would argue that it should not be a taxable event. That would be my argument, because I did not actually exchange it for US dollars, and I have not actually gained anything. I have not gained. And so I don't have money to give you, Uncle Sam. How am I going to pay you? Am I going to pay you in a portion of Bitcoin? There are lots of conversation and questions we had. Same things goes on in regards to stable coins. And so unfortunately, Robert, I wish that they would give us all of those answers. It would help a lot. But right now, Robert, it's just essentially getting played as just capital gains on an asset. And that's not how it should work. But for right now, that appears to be how it's working. All right. Looking for more. You
may have worn them out. You may have worn them out.
No, I don't know. I'm seeing lots of them. Lots of them. But no. I'll answer 2 or 3 more, though, Pops. I see the time as well.
Oh, that is up to you. I can work in the background while you keep running, or you can shut it down yourself, Dan. I've already sung, and you can go as long as you want.
Oh, no. We won't go trying to break any of those record-long streams.
Although, I have a half-cocked notion to turn my mornings into 3-hour ones.
3-hour ones?
Yeah, because we're already starting to go 2 hours on a lot of them. But I thought about splitting into segments where we can do RV stuff, and then we can split off and do the news-related stuff or a guest.
Hey.
I don't know. All right, I'm gonna leave you alone while you answer some questions.
I'll answer a few more though, and then we'll wrap it on. Then we will. I tend to agree, Sebastian Curtis. If we don't get the Save America Act passed, our future is in serious trouble. I agree on that one, Sebastian.
My take is if we don't get the Save America, we're going to have to go to the grassroots level. If we can pass it in 26 states, we can change those voting regulations, then we can use 14th Amendment to force it on the rest of the country. Well, we can force parts. Each state's still going to be able to take care of, but there can be some federal requirements like clean voter rolls and citizenship. There are other ways around it that we should have taken a long time ago instead of waiting on one president and executive order and hope the Supreme Court goes along.
Oh, no, most definitely. And Ken Connor, 90-20. Love that the Democrats are the ones that forced Trump into crypto due to debanking the family. There is a great deal of irony right there, is there not, Ken? Absolutely, yeah. Back during the first administration, that's when you started to hear Trump,
and then he made $1 billion this year
talking about cryptocurrencies and everything of that nature. That's when the conversation started. And yeah, now they're mad that he did it. They forced him out of the controlled financial system, forced him over to the blockchain, and then got mad when he did it. Yeah, there's a lot of irony. Sunset Thrill adds us, what's your view of XRP valuation? Will be extreme or more reasonable, like $10 per coin? Well, thank you so much for the question on that one, Sunset Thrill. And I will always say, not financial advice and price targets and things of that nature. That always gets into a little bit of game of playing pin the tail on the donkey. But Sunset Thrill, do I believe that a $10 valuation for XRP is completely, absolutely. XRP, in my opinion, should probably already be pretty close to $10 per coin. When we start to look at these higher and higher valuations, Sunset Thrill, I believe that they are possible as we move into the future and as the supply of XRP begins to become deflationary, even if it's just slightly deflationary. And the reason is because right now, XRP is essentially an inflationary cryptocurrency. Every month, more XRP is released from escrow into the circulating supply. Until that stops, I think that XRP's valuation is very much got a top on it. And it's just a logical and a fundamental one. Ultimately, when you are constantly pushing more and more supply into a market, you're going to continue to suppress the price. We could play this game in bananas, eggs, beef, pork. This is not just something that's crypto related. This is the same way that when the Federal Reserve sits there and prints dollars, they are essentially, it's a hidden tax on the American people. In many ways, that is how these monthly escrow releases of XRP are affecting us. The important thing for people to remember, though, is that in the case of XRP, these escrow releases will eventually end. This is not something that is supposed to continue to go on forever. As a matter of fact, it's only got a few more years that it's even supposed to be happening. And there are paths towards it ending even sooner. And so that is where I sit on that one, Sunset Thrill. $10 per. I do think that it is very much possible. People just have to remember that it all comes down to these numbers right over here. When I start to look at things like that, I accidentally pops up, got his eye. And so it comes down to some numbers right over here. And this is some of the most important information to understand when you're participating in cryptocurrency. And it's some of the most boring in certain regards, but it all comes down to right here. So what are we looking at? We've got circulating supply sitting at 62.242 billion. That's how many XRP are free and wild out there in the ecosystem. That number includes my XRP and your XRP and everybody else's XRP. We bought our XRP. This is the XRP we bought. But here's the kicker. Total supply is 99.986 billion. And so what happens each month is some of the total supply is released or sold by either Ripple Labs, the company, in order to pay for all of these different things that they're buying, all these new acquisitions, yada, 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 or by the early investors whose escrows are finally coming out. They bought XRP for, pennies. And so every time that occurs, what we continue to have is this monthly occurrence, essentially, of inflation's effects being felt in the overall price. And so that means that essentially for XRP to rise in value right now, not only does it need to be net positive in regards to, more purchases than sales, it needs to be capable of actually eating up that entire escrow release each month. If it can't eat it, then the price of XRP is going to go down. It's an added pressure, an added downward price pressure on the price of XRP. And it's simple as day. It's boring, but it's true. It's what is affecting XRP and holding it back. Until this stops, we are going to have a very hard time looking at extremely high price targets because that's not how things work. And so I always like to point this one out when we have that conversation, because it's not something people hear, oh, XRP is inflationary. When I say that, and they're like, well, Zester's, a moron. That's not how it works. And no, XRP is not built to be inflationary. There are only ever going to be and only ever were 100 billion XRP. But it is going through an inflationary phase because we are currently watching as the total supply is released into the circulating supply. You can go back and look at this number over the years and see as it continues to tick up and up and up. Some months, XRP or Ripple Labs will not actually sell all that they have released, and they'll put it back into escrow. And so that effect can be different every single month. But in my opinion, Sunset Thrill, we don't get to start talking about $20 XRP until we start to talk about this, the burning functionality of XRP itself. All right. Sebastian Curtis, Zester, what are your thoughts on the likelihood of an XRP buyback given its utility purpose? That's a great question, Sebastian. And I feel like on this one, there's something that I really like to clarify on this one, because I think that a lot of people have heard buybacks, and I know that it was a big thing. Folks said that there's going to be a government buyback, there's going to be a corporate buyback, yada, yada, yada. And that buyback kind of, I think, is maybe not the right word for it. But it's the nugget of truth at the center is effectively that. And so, Sebastian, let me lay this one out this way. XRP is tokenizing gold and silver, and they've got RLUSD, and they've got tokenized US treasuries, yada, yada, yada. And that we know is their plan moving forward, is to continue on that path. The whole world and everything in it is going to be tokenized on a blockchain system. It's an inevitability at this point. And so, on account of that, when companies and governments need to participate in these tokenized stocks, these tokenized treasury bills, these tokenized gold and silver, when a company when our manufacturing comes back and Detroit's manufacturing cars and they need to buy steel from Japan or they need to buy computer chips, what's going to occur is that company in Detroit is going to need XRP. But they're not going to pay for those chips in Japan in XRP. They're going to pay for it in tokenized gold or stable coins or a variety of different things, all kinds of different things that could move along those financial rails. And how are you going to pay the fees to do that? You're going to pay those fees in XRP. And so that is where I think that some folks have gotten it's true. Companies and governments are going to want to buy your XRP because they're going to need it. But I don't think that there's going to be a universal buyback. There easily could be some structured buybacks that we could end up seeing occur. But most likely, Sebastian, those buybacks that are occurring right now, they're probably coming out of that total supply, and they're probably not coming out of the circulating supply. They're probably being negotiated as over-the-counter deals. And so in that regard, I do think that we're going to have governments and companies trying to buy our XRP in order for them to use the Ripple ledger, the XRP ledger. They're going to need our XRP. And so that's where I believe it is the truth of it. Yes, they're going to need it for its utility. And so I think that you're entirely correct on that one, and that the folks talking about that are right. They're going to, but the buyback terminology makes it sound like, I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me, but I do believe they're going to be buying it. I just don't believe that they're going to be, that it's going to be some kind of giant structured buyback of all of it or something of that nature. I think more so it's going to be this massive driving price escalation, and we're going to see the value of XRP going up because these companies, these governments are going to start trying to hoard the XRP. Tracy,
I did this one, and then on the Trump accounts for people asking, I posted it in chat, a link not only to the trumpaccounts.gov one, but also to the IRS one explaining it, just in case somebody's out there telling you it's all this, all that. I'm giving you 2 links where you can find out anything and everything you need to know about the Trump account, savings accounts for kids. Think of it as a Roth IRA or whatever, a new IRA just for kids in order to invest in the next generation. So that is in your chat. All right, now I'll leave you alone again.
No worries. No, I'm glad that you jumped in for that one. And so, yes, LilyPad, and yeah, it changes. And so that's something that you can also kind of keep an eye on. There's a lot of conspiracy around how much is released each month. I don't know why my camera decided, oh, it looks like I'm back. It decided I was very unfocused for a second. And so LilyPad, that one it's an unknown each month, but we know each month to expect it to occur. And so it just creates uncertainty. And markets and investors hate uncertainty in this type of a situation. You don't know how much is going to be sold. And so it makes the calculus change. Now you've got a supply every month that has to be eaten. It has to be bought. And if it's not bought, then the price of XRP goes down. And so in that regard, I think that it is going to be a very, 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 very big deal for the price of XRP when we do get some structure to that. I've also always questioned whether we weren't going to eventually, that they weren't going to choose to burn a large portion of the uncirculating supply. That would be the best thing that could ever happen to us. You want to see XRP suddenly go on, it would not be a diagonal upwards chart. The thing would be a straight line if they burnt 30 some billion XRP. We would be looking at a straight line. And so in that regard, LilyPad, we don't know each month. Now there are, and I will say that there are trackers for this, and maybe that's something I should cover in one of the next shows, is that we do know essentially how much is set to potentially be released. But we don't know what they're going to do once it's released. They could immediately lock half of it back up. But it is a metric that we can track. Sapling Learning, considering XRP's future utility, is Ripple going to become a part of the Department of the Treasury of the United States of America? Sapling, that's one that I've heard a lot of differing arguments on the best way for us to set that up as we start to move forward, because undoubtedly there's going to be and there are already other cryptocurrencies or blockchain technologies that are going to reach a point of being a matter of national security. And that's where we're going to have a conversation about how independent some of these companies are allowed to be, which is a scary conversation, because you know that I'm not a fan of the idea or in any form or fashion of the government meddling in business. But this is a conversation that's going to have to be had, most definitely, in regards to it. And I think that we're kind of getting a little bit of an indication there. Look at how interconnected Brad Garlinghouse is in the White House. I feel like the guy's there once a week or more often on a regular basis. And so we're seeing that interconnection occur between some of these major industry leaders in the blockchain space and the federal government. But I do think also, Sapling Learning, that we're going to see XRP being included in strategic reserves for the federal government, and that's going to be something that we're going to see coming. In the same way that we're going to see Bitcoin as a strategic asset for the United States, I think we're going to start viewing XRP, and I think it already is being viewed that way in many corners of the government. But I think that is absolutely coming. Whether it's directly a part of the Department of the Treasury, that's where I get into, the capitalist and the libertarian, the different portions of my brain start to have an argument when we get into that part, because I don't necessarily believe that we should have the government running certain things, and especially it's public infrastructure. When you look at these blockchains, it's public infrastructure. And so we have to have a whole conversation about all of this. There's so much more that needs to be discussed. And unfortunately, we're so stuck dealing with the crap that we're not having those bigger and more important conversations about where this is going, what we should do with it, how we should do this. Should it be for the people, by the people? We're not having those conversations. Instead, we're fighting over what interest rate stablecoins should provide, and whether the account should look like a savings account or not, or how much money Trump made in crypto, instead of answering the really important questions like this. Sapling Learning, what are we going to do? These are public infrastructure. How does that work? So I think that's a great question there. And I wish I knew the exact answer. I think I gave so many like myself don't have a penny to play the game. Will be investing once RV hits. How will that change the game? I think that's going to also be another major, and it's going to come in waves. We're going to see the move of the financial system onto the blockchain rails and the new financial system. And so I think at the same time, I don't think you're going to be too late to the game. I guess is the short version of what I'm trying to say. I don't think you're going to be too late to the game. And I think we've got a lot of those moments coming. All right, all right. Mountain Gold. I want to talk about it too. That's where I love the conversation. That was so much of the reason that I got so excited about crypto back in 2016. It wasn't. Well, I mean, it was there. I did think that I was like, oh man, I'm gonna retire young. All I need to do is just pick the right one. But that really wasn't the thing that I was. That wasn't what I was thinking about. That wasn't what I was researching. That wasn't what I was looking at. It was imagining the entire way that the whole world is going to change. The idea of ownership, the possibilities of this new technology were what was the most exciting part to me, and remains the most exciting part to me. I don't get excited learning how to use a new crypto wallet. It's not exciting. It's just a task. It's a thing to do. But I do get extremely excited when we start to look at the possibilities, what this could do, how this can it can revolutionize the entire world. With blockchain technology, we are talking about the third world of the entire planet is about to skip 100+ years of financial system growth, of infrastructure, of banking. They're going to just miss entire portions of things that have gone on for the past 100 years. They're going to jump straight to a world in which a phone is pretty much all you will need in order to be the owner of your own finance, in order to access lending, in order to access all kinds of different financial tools. And that is just one small thing that it's capable of doing. I also look at it and say, blockchain voting. We are capable of having an election system, a voting system that would place the power back in the hands of the people. Because right, wrong, or indifferent, the current system has got big problems. And blockchain voting is not just a possibility. It's not just a maybe. It's very achievable. We've already done it. Utah ran pilot programs back as early as 2018. And it worked flawlessly. There's so many things that came with this blockchain technology, and that's what's the most exciting part, in my opinion. That's what's going to really change that's what's not going to just change our lives. It's what's got the potential to change all future generations' lives, to entirely reset the scales in regards to who controls public infrastructure and the financial system. It gives us a chance. Whether we squander that chance or not, I don't know. Web3, baby. Well, we've also, Kevin, I know Web3 is, people are still trying to learn Web3. Web4 is already out. I'm pretty certain that they've already even thrown Web5 out. We're only at the beginning, but I would say something, though. With all the Web3 craze, I was really excited about it in the past, all of the different decentralized applications. I do think now, having had more time, I'd like for them to be a little bit more disciplined with where they choose to decide to make everything into an app. Some things can just be a website. Yep. Well, I'm looking for one last one, and then I see we've hit 2 hours and 8 minutes. I'm looking for one last one, and then I'll bid everyone adieu. Cherry Fox 3656. What do you think the price of XRP will go to in the next 6 months or a year, or the top? When do you think it will happen? Sherry, that's the $1 billion question right there. And I think that there are a few different factors at play. From a market cycle standpoint, 2026 does not look like a good crypto year. If we were to follow the typical 4-year cycle, we would be looking at the bottom of the crypto market sometime later this year, around November, December. We'd be looking at the bottom of the market. I believe that there has been an inherent change to the market cycle brought about by the mainstream adoption of cryptocurrency. And so, Cherry Fox, I think that there are a few really big variables in this. if the Clarity Act were to pass, Cherry Fox, I believe that we could see $5 or even potentially $6 XRP by the end of 2026. I believe that that is possible. But remember, we were just talking about that. Clarity Act is currently sitting at a coin toss. And also, Cherry Fox, the Crypto Clarity Act itself is not necessarily the final celebration. It's really the firing. It's really the firing shot for the race to begin. And that's when I think you're going to start seeing, you're going to see this initial massive boost, big price jump on a lot of the blue chip cryptos, XRP, Ethereum, Solana. I think, that group are going to do very well. XLM as well. Bitcoin itself will also do well on account of it. And then we'll start to see the real climb begin, because then we're going to start, that structural shift is going to begin of the entire financial system moving to the new financial system. And I think that part of it, bringing all of these different facets of the system, that's going to take time. Is going to take time. And so, Cherry Fox, I'm sorry that I didn't give you, some exact numbers or more of a solid one, but there are some factors at play right now that I think could heavily influence that. Cherry Fox, if you were to take that 4-year cycle, and I don't mean to say this in order to be pessimistic, I'm just stating the facts. If you were to take the market cycle that's repeated itself in the past, it's repeated 3 times, a 4-year cryptocurrency market cycle, then we would not see the next all-time high for XRP until 2028, 2029. I don't believe that is the case, though, personally, Cherry. But I think that in order to be fully transparent, I should present what those facts are, or what that theory would state. I don't think that's the case, but a lot right now is riding on the Clarity Act. And it's also riding on the Clarity Act not having a bunch of junk. And if the Clarity Act has a bunch of junk legislation tacked onto it, that could change this entire conversation. That could change the whole thing. We could end up with, with some Trojan horse legislation that gets sneaked in there. And I'm fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But, when you let the current corrupt senators play, they tend to like to play in the mud. All right, though, guys, thank you all so much for joining today and joining in on the original MarkZ. OGMZ will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got anybody special joining you tomorrow, Pops?
Andy says he's going to be there, so I'm going to check in with him shortly. And when I post the video description, I will have him nailed down in the morning. But our last update over the weekend was he was definitely planning on joining us.
All right. Well, then, love you guys. Thank you all so much for joining. I'll be back on the MarkZ show on Wednesday to do our typical crypto time. Who knows? Maybe I'll throw a curveball or something. But otherwise, you can find me again on Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time on the Crazy Kryptonite.
All right, guys. See you in the morning. Unless there's breaking news, and I'll put over at Truth Social, X, or Voices of Freedom on Telegram. Bye, guys.
Peace.